Well, feeding programs are not cheap for sure, but we are so passionate about keeping kids under 5 alive. They are the most vulnerable. They are the quickest to die. You can help us continue that. The good news is this feeding program we're not going to have to do forever, because when we finish our Turkana in Northern Kenya project, people are going to be able to feed their children. It's such good news. Please help us do that. Just go to your phone right now, call 1-888-288-0003, or you can go to crossroads.ca and you can give online. Chester, welcome. Chester, you are in the field. You are the guy who makes it all happen.
Well, this is great. I mean, you know, what we're doing here today is great because, I mean, the impact, the ripple effect, the spin-off of this initiative is going to make a huge difference. One of the Crossroads staff, George, I don't know what his position is here, but he talked about a revolution. And I think, you know, why not, as Christians, why don't we start a revolution of change that is going to impact people's lives forever? And remember, it's not just about meeting the physical needs. We minister to people's spirit, soul, and body. The thing I love about Benson and Jenica, our partners over there in Turkana, is that they have a heart for the spiritual needs of people as well as the physical needs.
Yeah, and when we go into various places around the world, we always go in the name of Jesus Christ, communicating the love of God, and we just have great partners who have wonderful credibility on the ground. Turkana is just another example of that.
That's it. That's right. And we, you know, we're living in a global village now, and I mean, it just doesn't even take long to get over there. I mean, it's 2 very boring flights, mind you, but you're there in no time. And these are our neighbors. We can't turn a blind eye. You know, it says in the Bible that if you see someone in need and you say, I didn't know about it, there's no excuse anymore. We have no excuse. We know. The media puts it in our face every day. We're putting it in your face even today. But there's no excuse for not saying, Lord, what can I do to share with my brother or my sister in need?
You know, Chester, sometimes I think that we feel, because people in the developing world deal with death so often, and because it's part of that struggle for survival is part of their life, I think sometimes we feel like it's normalized, like somehow they have a better capacity to deal with it because they're used to it. Yeah. I've never seen that when I've traveled. Last time I was there, we interviewed a mom who had lost 2 of her kids under 1 month apart. Literally, she lost the first one, she tried to save the second one, and then that one died too.
That's right.
And that grief, that was as real as you had lost a child, and you said you know what that's like. It was just as real to her.
It's painful. It's painful. And however they present it to the outside world, different people have different ways of mourning, you know. But the point is, it's a loss of a life. And, you know, God created that life, and God made all the provision. All the provision is there for that child to survive. But it's because of the inequities, because of greed, because of a lot of reasons that food is not made abundant or sufficient to keep children alive. And that's why even this children's feeding program is so important. And we certainly want to invite everyone to be a part of you know, contributing to this while the need is there to feed children up to 5 years old. These are preschool children, and they're already getting some education. By the way, it's a school feeding program. So they come to school, they learn about the Lord, they learn some basic things, they sing songs together, and they get a lunch. And they even get an energy bar, you know, a little bit earlier on in the morning. And then after lunch, they get to go home and they get to be with their families.
You know, that was one of the most heartbreaking days, honestly, Chester, when I was there, because I saw these kids. Many of them didn't have pants on. They had a little ripped T-shirt, and they're lining up with their little buckets waiting for food. And so for so many, that's the only meal they're going to get all day. I could hardly cope. Like, I had to do something to camera, and I was just praying, please don't let me burst into tears and cry, because they're so vulnerable. They're in such desperate circumstances. Sure. And the realization that by your giving, you are literally day by day keeping them alive. That is the only thing between them and death, is that meal. That was just overwhelming for me to try to understand.
It's a stunning realization, isn't it, Cheryl? It really is. So again, you know, it always goes back to us again. And you know, there's a fella that I met in Haiti. He's a founder of a ministry in Haiti, and you know, when he first saw hungry, starving children, he got so angry, and he you know, the story goes, he went before God and he says, God, how could you let this happen? And first of all, there was silence, and then he kept arguing and fighting with God. God, how could you let children starve? And then the Lord spoke to him and said, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And isn't that the message that we're all getting today? What are we doing about it?
And how can we let this happen?
How can we let it happen?
The world we live in today, with so many advantages, and as you said, a plane ride isn't that long to get to another part of the world where it is so desperate and so terrible. But we have the ability to get there We have the partners on the ground who know what to do. We have the programs in place, proven techniques, scientific accuracy. We have farmers like you, engineers, surveyors, people that are surveyors that are getting the information, and we know how to do this, and we say that to the glory of God. What we need, because we live in a real world where things cost real dollars, is we need financial support. Right. And when you call us at 1-888-288-0003, you make a huge difference with whatever size gift you give. We are grateful for that. And we will take those gifts and we will use them there properly. This is a great management team that we have here in our international efforts at Crossroads. And they take it seriously. They're passionate people. And they just simply need the funds to be able to get there and to be able to make the acquisitions, to be able to get the tools, to be able to get the framework, to be able to get all the things that are necessary so that the water and the earth and the seed get in concert with each other. And we even have this, Chester, which I love, this wonderful soup mix here too. Cheryl, how long have we been engaged in providing this soup mix? The last few years?
Yeah, actually since the drought in 2011, we've never stopped feeding those kids. We don't want to see one child die. We don't want to see anyone die. That's why we're doing this. But, I just wanted to make a comment to, John, I was thinking about this. When you go to the developing world, the very first question you have to ask yourself is, why was I born here? Why wasn't I born in Kenya? Why am I not starving?
Great question.
And I really believe that God has blessed us to leverage it for other people. I think He's asking us, it's a test. He's asking us, what are you going to do? Are you going to do it, or are you just going to enjoy your prosperity? And I think it's a moral question. And sometimes I have felt like, I'm not really doing that well compared to some other friends of mine, who have more. When I go to the developing world, I come back and I say, oh my goodness, I'm rich. I had no idea. We really have no idea. It's such a privilege to partner.